starts right now.
The holidays often bring celebration, but if you're not careful, lives can be put in danger. Just today, a woman accused in a deadly drunk driving case was brought before our cameras. More than 2,000 people in Bexar County alone were impacted by drivers suspected of driving under the influence of alcohol last year. And TxDOT data shows that more than 100 people have been killed in Bexar County in the last 2 years.
And tonight, a new mother says a drunk driver robbed her of precious memories with her own mother, who was killed nearly 20 years ago in a crash. The Night Team's Patty Santos shares her story with us.
So my mother died when I was 4, so I grew up basically my whole life without a mom.
That same driver that killed her mom also sent Analicia Zarate to the hospital for a month in the fall of 2000.
He was driving with his girlfriend and her 2 kids, and her daughter suffered brain trauma.
Zarate, who became a new mother recently, says a selfish decision by a drunk driver robbed her of precious memories.
She's missed everything: the birth of my child, high school graduation, college graduation. Every important milestone has been without her.
According to TxDOT'S DUI crashes involving alcohol, more than 100 people have been killed in Bexar County crashes in the last 2 years. In 2017, 53 people were killed in 2,021 crashes. Last year, the number of deaths was 52 in a total of 2,051 crashes.
The saddest part about these stories is that it's 100% preventable.
Natalie Paulus with Mothers Against Drunk Driving says personal accountability to not drink and drive and not get in the vehicle with an intoxicated person could prevent some of these deaths.
Bexar County has one of the highest incidents in the state of Texas for alcohol-impaired crashes.
If I can save one person, one family, I've done justice for myself and for my mother and my family.
Zarate says her mother's killer served 2 years of a 10-year prison sentence, but was back in prison after another drunk driving crash.
Sometimes people just don't learn. That's why you yourself have to take responsibility.
And the number of DUI crashes for this year will be available at the start of the new year. MAD says they usually see a trend in the number of alcohol-related crashes go up between Christmas and New Year's every year. They urge anyone who's going to be out on the road during this time to look out for those impaired drivers, especially if you're out late at night. But of course, don't drink and drive. Devin?
Patty Santos reporting for us live. Patty, thank you. Earlier today, a woman was walked before our cameras accused in a deadly drunk driving case near Leon Springs. This one happening over the weekend. 30-year-old Natalie Saldana is charged with intoxication manslaughter following this weekend's crash. The charge was upgraded after a 36-year-old Arizona man died in the hospital. The Bexar County Sheriff says that the man was heading to Florida with his wife and daughter when they experienced car trouble along I-10 in Leon Springs. While waiting for their car to be towed, investigators say Saldana slammed into the back of the deputy's patrol car. At one point, the patrol car flipped and hit the wife and pinned the man. An affidavit revealed that the man had swelling to his brain. Surgery was performed and he was placed in a medically induced coma in an attempt to save his life, but he died just minutes before the start of Christmas Day. His wife continues to recover. Their daughter and the deputy are okay.
New on the Nightbeat, shots fired at a southeast side home, and investigators say the suspects tried to clear any evidence. 17-year-old Caleb Lawrence Fisher is one of the 3 suspects named in an affidavit. Investigators say he was a passenger in a truck that followed 2 brothers to their home. According to an affidavit, Fisher, along with 2 others in the truck, shot at the home with the boys and their mother inside. Investigators say they then picked up shell casings before driving off. No injuries were reported. Fisher was arrested this afternoon.
A pregnant mother killed before she was able to bring life into this world. Gabriela Rodriguez and the daughter she was carrying killed on Christmas Day. Investigators say an ex-boyfriend was the gunman. Rodriguez was 33 weeks pregnant, she and her boyfriend expecting a daughter. Rodriguez was also a mother to 2 boys with her ex-boyfriend. Police say that she was dropping the boys off at the ex's home for the holiday when her ex shot her and then killed himself. Rodriguez's mother says that the last time she heard from her daughter was through text message.
Thank you for everything, Mom. You and Santiago are great and we love you. And that's the last time I heard from my daughter.
Garcia, who you just heard from, says that her 2 grandsons were inside of the house and the oldest one saw everything. The suspect, taken to the hospital in critical condition, Rodriguez, had been training to be an esthetician and had dreams of opening up her own salon.
Data collected by the FBI shows hate crimes are on the rise in Texas. These crimes increased by nearly 240% from 2017 to 2018. In 2017, there were 192 reported hate crimes. That number jumped up to 457 in 2018. As KSAT previously reported, there are more than 1,000 active hate groups in the country, 73 in Texas, and at least 4 based in San Antonio. Our Tiffany Huertas breaks down what a hate crime is.
On Christmas Eve last year, a Northwest San Antonio church was vandalized. Pentagrams, other satanic symbols, and profanity were found tagged on the Fellowship Bible Church. This is just one of several hate crimes reported in our community. But what exactly is a hate crime? A hate crime is defined as a criminal offense against a person or property that is motivated by race, religion, sexual orientation, gender, and disability. Hate crimes became punishable in 1968 after Congress passed a statute that was then signed into law by President Lyndon Johnson. That law makes it a crime to threaten or to use force against any person because of race, color, religion, or national origin. Since then, the law has been strengthened. In 1996, destroying religious property based on bias became criminal. In Texas, racially motivated hate crimes saw the most dramatic increase. These cases alone spiked from 117 in 2017 to 314 in 2018. In Texas, incidents involving religion, sexual orientation, and disability also rose. Here at home, there were 6 hate crimes reported in 2018. That's compared to 4 the year before. Records obtained by TxDOT'S show 3 of those crimes were based on race, ethnicity, ancestry. 2 were based on religion, and 1 was based on sexual orientation. I'm Tiffany Huertas. To see more stories like this, check out KSAT News at 9, Monday through Friday.
He stepped down before completing his first year at the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. Former Deputy Milton Martinez was first hired back on January 8th. Well, now there's paperwork requesting a dishonorable discharge for him. Martinez is accused of smuggling tobacco to inmates. When confronted by investigators on Monday, he resigned. An administrative and criminal investigation is now underway. A fake document discovered and an attempt to break out of jail foiled. Now, Marco Alvarez is facing another charge on top of the 7 that he was already facing. He was being transferred from one unit to another around 2 this morning when Alvarez ended up in the booking area. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says he handed over a forged identification card in an attempt to be released, but staffers caught on. Along with a forgery charge, he faces several assault charges, including one against a security officer.
Well, several SAPD police cruisers were hit in a stretch of a few hours, each separate case happening along the north side. The first was just after 11 o'clock last night. Police pulled over a wrong-way driver near Hardy Boulevard in Sonterra. Officers say he then hit a police unit before speeding onto the highway. He was finally caught at Alamo Toyota off 281, where he crashed into 4 other vehicles. Another case happened at a Northwest Side bar around 2 o'clock this morning. Officers were called to the well on UTSA Boulevard for crowd control. There were 2 incidents there. A man was injured and taken to the hospital, and a family got into a fight, resulting in the arrest of another person. While police were on scene, a driver crashed into a police cruiser. Then at 4 o'clock this morning, another police cruiser was hit on Thousand Oaks while the officer was conducting a traffic stop. The officer was not hurt. That driver was detained under suspicion of DWI. We're also told that driver left the well bar earlier.
65 degrees outside tonight. It's been a cloudy and slightly more humid day. We'll hold on to the clouds overnight, so cloudy skies through early tomorrow morning. Low temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, right around 59 degrees here in San Antonio, with some fog, patchy fog and patchy drizzle developing through early on Friday. Current view of satellite and radar, no rain out there, but still a lot of cloud cover all across South Texas, even up into North Texas as well. But our next cold front is well off to our west, sitting over Southern California, bringing rain to parts of the desert Southwest west from Phoenix up to Vegas this evening. I'm going to tell you when this next storm system gets to Texas and what it could mean for the weekend forecast. And also it's time to start talking about the New Year's Eve forecast. All of that coming up here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Katie. Next on the Night Beat, we head south of San Antonio where there's a tug of war over a privately funded border wall in the upper Rio Grande Valley. The property owner considering legal action. Next on the Night Beat.
This SA Salute holiday greeting is brought to you by Broadway Bank.
I'm Major Diane Carranza here at Al Jaber Air Base in Kuwait. I want to wish a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to my friends and family back in San Antonio, Texas, especially my husband Jason and my 3 girls, Peyton, Dylan, and Reagan. Mommy loves y'all.
Never miss a story. Watch live or when you want. San Antonio's latest news and weather, streaming free on KSAT TV.
Privately owned land has been cleared. Sections of steel fencing now propped up against dump trucks. So far, no privately funded border wall. It's been tied up by lawsuits and temporary restraining orders.
The National Butterfly Center just west of the site is worried about its impact on the popular nature reserve. The International Boundary and Water Commission is concerned it'll violate its U.S. treaty with Mexico.
And then there's the Anzaldúa Cavazos family property east of the site that's considering possible legal action as well. The Night Team's Jesse Degollado says their roots go back to when the Spaniards arrived in the 1700s.
What you see back here is hate.
Ray Anzaldúa is talking about the privately funded wall going up next to land owned by his family for generations, including his cousin Fred Cavazos.
No Mexicans allowed, pero le pueden poner ahí la agua.
That's what he jokingly says they'll put at the bottom of it. They may laugh, but they're not happy.
Very upsetting. I'm angry.
The Carrizo cane on the Mexican side of the Rio Grande is what prevents erosion. But now that it's gone on this side, people are worried.
I think this is dumber than dumb.
The scenic Rio Grande can be ferocious when it floods. What's left of the riverbank now scraped clean, perhaps the wall itself, and land downriver.
It's going to be washed away. It's just a matter of time. It's going to happen.
Not so, says We Build the Wall, the group behind the project. Many government walls may be on levees to reduce flooding, but the group's leader says they're ineffective.
And they don't really do much except funnel people to Border Patrol instead of stopping them.
So this one will be closer to the river.
You can build inside the floodplains, you can build in these areas and have it not affect flooding.
It's why he says the riverbank gradually slopes down and special sod will prevent erosion.
So we have our own experts. They'll be doing the studies. They will be reviewing the models.
Peña represents the nearby Butterfly Center that's fighting the project.
This is a stunt. It's a publicity stunt to raise money.
The group's founder says he did it for a reason.
What was going on in D.C. with our politicians, and they weren't following through on the promise to give us border protection.
Then again, says the retired U.S. Customs agent who went after smugglers.
They think they're going to try and stop them, but this is not going to stop them.
In Mission, Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
That was the first tale of 2 border walls. Tomorrow on the Night Beat, Jesse Degollado shows us one of the Trump administration's first new sections of border wall that's not a replacement of existing fencing. Take a live look outside with live cam this evening. 65 degrees out there.
Look at that beautiful skyline.
It is beautiful out there tonight, Katie.
I love the Christmas lights, the Christmas colors there on the skyline. Yeah, did you notice the humidity a little bit more today?
A little bit.
Yeah, my dad was in town visiting and he likes to go for walks and I asked, I was like, how was it out there? And he said,
we get used
humid.
to it. Yeah.
He said it's more humid than it was. Yeah, so you may have noticed that today. We were also stuck with the clouds all day and that kept us in the 60s. High temperature today, only 68 degrees. Still pretty comfortable though, despite the humidity. And even at this hour, we've got pretty much everyone in the 60s. 59 though at Bernie Stage and up in Lost Maple. 64 in Devine, 63 in New Braunfels, 68 Carrizo Springs. So really 60s across the board right now. Our dew point temperatures for some spots, especially south of Highway 90, are also in the 60s, low 60s, upper 50s for our dew points. And we've had fog in the forecast the past several days. delays. That'll be the case through the start of the weekend as well, because humidity staying a bit higher. Our dew points will be staying in the upper 50s and 60s for the next couple of days. And for really all of us right now, visibility is just fine. It is starting to drop, though, down a bit closer to the coast where dew points are a little bit higher. I do expect some patchy fog and drizzle to develop overnight through the start of the day on Friday. Morning temperatures near 60 degrees. We'll, like today, start to see that fog clear up by midday. Few peaks of sun possible in the afternoon with a high temperature near 70. 20% chance of an isolated shower will begin to kick in tomorrow afternoon and evening, ahead of some slightly better rain chances as we get into Saturday. Still a lot of cloud cover, not only here across South Texas, also into North Texas and the southern plains there. We've got our jet stream winds ushering in this moisture in the form of the cloud cover that we saw today, all rotating around a counterclockwise circulation there centered over Southern California. That's our next storm system or low pressure system that will bring us our next cold front as we get into Saturday. But this bringing some healthy rain to Southern California, some snow there in the higher elevations of California there. Las Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona getting in on some of this rain right now. This low pressure system is going to begin to move off to the east closer to Texas during the day tomorrow. It's still going to be pretty far to the west by tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. But this low, as it crosses over the Rockies, goes down the Rockies into the plains, will start to spin up a little bit more, gain a little bit more energy. Unfortunately, the center of that low is going to go boom off to the north. So that's going to take the best chances of rain, some healthy rain off to the north. But it's also going to take the chance of any strong to severe storms off to the north with it as well. So through tomorrow night into Saturday, chance of some strong storms through Oklahoma, central portion of the plains there, and also into central and north Texas. We find ourselves on the tail end of things, so we're just looking at some isolated showers on Saturday as this frontal boundary moves through behind the fronts. Things look great for Sunday. So let's zoom in a little bit more, take you into FutureCast Friday night into early Saturday. You saw that 20% chance of showers that kicks in tomorrow afternoon and evening. That'll be in place overnight through early Saturday morning. We bump you up a little bit, 30% chance of some isolated showers on Saturday, mainly late morning, early afternoon as this front is approaching. 4 p.m. This is working through the I-35 corridor, give or take an hour or so. So 30% chance of rain as this front is moving on through here. It'll continue to move off to the east, and by Saturday evening, we'll start to clear out a little bit. Clear skies west of I-35 by Saturday evening, and then rain chances drop out of the forecast as well. Next week, another big holiday, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. It does look like after we clear out Sunday and Monday, we'll bring cloud cover back in by Tuesday. 20% chance of isolated showers, and then a better chance of rain carrying over into Wednesday, New Year's Day, a 40% chance of rain. The next low pressure system that affects this forecast, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, still waiting for a little bit more agreement with our forecast model, so we're going to continue to keep you updated. We'll be tweaking this forecast a little bit more over the next couple of days, so keep checking in with us. In the meantime, pretty gray and muggy next couple of days before that front gets here Saturday evening. Clears us out really nicely for Sunday, so if you do want to do something outside this weekend, if you've got family in town through the weekend, Sunday probably the better day to do it.
All right. Thank you so much, Katie.
All right, Greg, I was on the edge of my seat for the Spurs game. During the fourth quarter, it seemed like they were pretty close with the Mavs, but they just kept knocking them down.
What was interesting is the Mavs got up by as many as 15 points, and the Spurs going on an incredible run to make a game of this to the bitter end. But when we come back, the I-30 rivalry this time goes to Dallas, and their star player who put on quite the show tonight in his first game back after missing 4, and Dak addresses his status. Coming up. Look who is back from missing the last 4 games with a right ankle sprain, Rookie of the Year and current MVP candidate Luka Doncic, just in time at the Spurs tonight. Check how Seth Curry's behind-the-back pass to Doncic for the baseline jam. Dallas up 20-15. But the Spurs counter with a late run off the Patty Mills steal and layup to give the Spurs the first lead of the game, 21-20. Very next possession, Derek White buries a 3. The Spurs leading 24-20 after 1. Now in the second quarter, DeMar DeRozan drives in for the floater. He led the Spurs at 21, 40-38 Spurs. LaMarcus Aldridge continues his assault from three-point range, 45-42. But the Mavs close out on a 10-2 run, capped off by this three-pointer from Kristaps Porzingis. And at the half, The Mavs lead 52-47. In the third quarter now, this is still a close game as DeMar hits a pull-up jumper, but the Mavs go on a 12-2 run with Doncic floater in the lane and make it 76-64. Papa's not thrilled. Luka with 24 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists in his return until the Spurs answer with an 8-0 run to close out the quarter, capped off by that Rudy Gay 3. He had 18 off the bench, and it's the Spurs are within 5 going in 4. Now in the fourth quarter, the Spurs cut the lead down to 3 on the Patty Mills baseline layup, but that's when the wheels come off for the Spurs. The Mavs make their move. Porzingis with his second of back-to-back three-pointers to make it 88-79. DeLon Wright with a long three now is 185 and looked to pull away until this. Rudy Gay hits a three-pointer, and the Spurs have climbed back within 4 on a 13-0 run. Derek White with a chance to get within 1 in the closing seconds. No good. And the Spurs fall 102-98. Next up, they'll be back at home to host the Detroit Pistons. That'll be Saturday at 7:30.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
After limited in practice all of last week before losing to the Eagles in Philadelphia without scoring a single touchdown, Cowboys star quarterback Dak Prescott has not worked at all this week. Suffering from a sore AC joint in his throwing shoulder, he picked up on the win over the LA Rams, has not allowed Prescott to practice with his teammates this week, and is not expected to do so again tomorrow on the final day of workouts. Today, before facing their arch rivals, the Washington Redskins, in their final regular season game on Sunday with very slim possibilities of making the playoffs, Dak addressed his status.
It's been getting better, so that's the positive. But just all the treatment, all the different things that they got that the medical staff have in there for me to do. But for the most part, contrasting the heat and ice and just doing everything I can to make sure that come Sunday it's better. Been able to go through the walkthrough, do that for the most part. Really taking steps, everything, but just pushing the ball down the field for the most part. And that's just kind of part of it. Got to rest it for it to get better, and it will.
Meanwhile, the Houston Texans taking care of their business to clinch the AFC South. Will close out the regular season against the Titans at home for getting ready for the playoffs. It's great to see J.J. Watt back at the practice field just 8 weeks after having surgery to repair a torn pectoral muscle. This will be the first time or 3-time Defensive Player of the Year's third comeback from a major injury, and he was asked if he hopes to contribute right away.
This whole time I've been able to run, I've been able to work out my legs, I've been able to do agility drills, position drills. So that has been a huge help, both mentally and physically for this recovery. So I'm really excited about what I'm going to be able to do and get out there and help the boys.
All right, the Utah Utes making the most of their trip to San Antonio for the Valero Alamo Bowl next. Utah did not waste any time after their arrival in San Antonio for the Valero Alamo Bowl. The Utes were on the practice field at Trinity University where they held their first workout since arriving in the Alamo City last night to get ready to put their 11-2 record on the line against the Longhorns' 7-5 finish.
It was great energy. We were with our families, spend time at home, and we were itching to get back out here. And it was great being out here together and just getting the chemistry back right.
It was good work, just getting used to the humidity, just getting back to it, and I think by game time we'll be used to the elevation.
We're just trying to come in and get business done and execute and have some great practices beforehand.
And while the Utes were practicing, the Valero Alamo Bowl officials were painting the field for the game on Tuesday night as the Longhorns are set to arrive tomorrow to begin their workouts for the New Year's Eve game. After practice, select members of the Utah team headed out to SeaWorld where they got to interact with the bottlenose dolphins, Sadie and Ripley. We found out their names today and later got to ride the steel eel. All work and no play is no fun. And check out now, Utah head coach Kyle Whittingham gets from the team hotel in downtown San Antonio the practice field on board his own motorcycle. The Valero Alamo Bowl sending out this tweet today says, did we mention how well San Antonio lays out for hosting major events? And here's the matchup for that bowl game, the Valero Alamo Bowl on New Year's Eve, 6:30 between Utah and the Texas Longhorns. Congratulations to the Spurs' Marco Bellinelli, who got engaged on Christmas Day here in San Antonio. Marco made the announcement on Instagram saying, Merry Christmas for the Bellies. She said yes.
Congrats.
And maybe we got a San Antonio Spur for life as a result of that. We'll see.
I'm sure that ring helped her decision, too.
It never hurts. Never hurts.
Thanks, Greg.
We'll be right back.
Clouds and higher humidity next couple of days. Morning fog and drizzle possible as well. Front arrives late Saturday afternoon, early Saturday evening. Clears us out really nicely for Sunday. Sunday and Monday look like beautiful days. Does look like we'll bring back clouds and low-end rain chances by the end of the day Tuesday, New Year's Eve. And rain chance will carry over into the first day of 2020. We are going to be tweaking that forecast a little bit over the next couple of days, and we'll keep you updated.
All right. Thank you, Katie.
All right. Well, that does it for tonight. Don't forget, Good Morning San Antonio starts at 4:30.
Good night.